All right. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Metaphysical Meetup with Marc live here on the Intuitive Prospector page. Good morning to my subscribers. Good morning to my team that's always with me to bring that Friday energy into the journey, into life. I'm your host, Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector. UFO, UAP enthusiast, prospecting for mysticism, mystery, nature, hikes, believer in Bigfoot, believer in the Loch Ness monster, believer in things unseen. It's just because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not a part of our world and part of our journey. Something I've long wrestled with to come to that conclusion. So this morning, I want to talk to you on this Friday. Uh, Something that I was watching a movie, Into the Wild. If you know the movie, it's a great movie. It's about a gentleman who goes off on his own adventure, doesn't really conform to the the chains and the confines of working a 21st century job, and really goes explores and meets all sorts of new people. Sean Penn was the director of it. It's based on a true story, actually. It actually turns out, unfortunately, pretty tragic. But it's one of my favorite shows. It's something. It came out. Emil Hirsch is in it. Came out, I want to say, in the early 2000s, maybe. I'd have to look it up. But there's a quote that, as when I was watching this, there was a quote that really stood out to me, and it says, "This says the quote is." Um, it's by John Krakauer, who wrote Krakauer. He wrote Into the Wild, and it says this: the quote, "The core of man's spirit comes from new experiences." End quote. And that kind of just it stuck with me. It's like, it's true. If we're made to create as humans, we're not made to consume. And there's a lot of consuming going on in our world, of our planet, of our resources, of other people's energy, and that's something that I've tried to get away from this last year. Um, and sometimes it's hard to try to make sense of our world, right? It really is. Like right now, I'm like, did I wake up in a different dimensional construct based on what I see? But to figure out why people were bad to each other so often is something that's interesting to me as well. It's like we're all the same. We all are here. We're all trying to make the best of this journey. Um, and so there was a couple of quotes that really kind of stuck out with me. And I wanted to share that with you today, and we can get into some discussions, some spiritual discussions to find the diamonds within and the diamonds that are all around us. Some that are seen, some are hidden, some that are yet to be discovered. And that's what we do on Fridays. Fridays is Metaphysical Meetup, my time to share with you perspective, your time to come into a positive community to get inspiration, encouragement, motivation to think outside the box, things that make you go, things to challenge the status quo. So I appreciate the follow. I appreciate my subscribers. We had a great Diamonds Day last Friday. That's the first Friday of every month that's dedicated to my subscribers, both here on my Diamond subscribers through the Facebook channel or my Patreon prospectors, which you can get more information right here at marclainhart.com or internet search the Intuitive Prospector. And it's the first Friday of every month that is dedicated to my subscriber Diamonds Day. So I offer two sessions on the Zoom platform. You can either call in or you can video in. They're both acceptable and accessible. That's what's cool about technology, right? But the first one is at 11:30 a.m. And once you become a subscriber, you'll see that link for Zoom posted at the top of the page. And then same for my Patreon prospectors. I always announce it that morning that we're having Diamonds Day. First Friday of every month is your way to connect with me to go prospecting. And we can prospect on many different levels: meditation, healing, breath work, mindfulness, intuition, psychic, mediumship, the spiritual journey, questions you may have. And it's a great way through the subscription process versus necessarily booking a 1 hour reading with me, which can be more expensive because you're paying for my time, right? If you're Diamond Sub, it's $4.99, which is less than a cup of coffee. And then Patreon prospectors, you have a couple different hierarchies that you can choose based on the interaction you want to have with me and get advance notice of my podcast that's coming up on the 26th, or my latest article, or my YouTube channel. And again, thank you to the YouTube channel subscribers, guys. You guys are amazing. Honored and humbled by the turnout. We're about to hit 32,000 subscribers. So something changed within this last year because I only used to have about 500 to 1,000 subscribers, but somehow my messaging, my forecasting, my podcasting, my content is resonating with people, and I want to just say thank you, honestly, for the subscribers here on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel. So I am growing my TikTok channel a little bit. I'm not familiar with as much of that platform, but as my nieces and nephews keep telling me, you got to get off Facebook because that's for old people and move over to TikTok now that it's sticking around. The reason I wasn't doing it because I wasn't sure if it was going to stick around or not. But it's a fun channel. I do have a Prospector channel over there under Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, if you want to follow me on Instagram or TikTok, and all of those. So today, let's talk about grab your coffee, grab your tea, take a nice deep breath, move into the magic of the moment. We're just 1 week away from the spring coming. This is where the trees come back to life. They produce their leaves, and kind of the same with humans. We come back to life, more light, more energy. So next, the 20th is the first day of spring, which is only about a week away. But today is Pi Day as well. So happy Pi Day 3.14. What's interesting about this date from a scientific standpoint is for those of you that follow science or metaphysics or physics or quantum mechanics, all of that, March 14th, which is today, Pi Day, and you know pi is 3.145926, and the number goes on for infinity, right? That's the pi, that's a mathematical formula. But it's also the birth anniversary of Albert Einstein. He was born in 1879, March 14th, 1879. But it's also Stephen Hawking's death anniversary. The day he transitioned, he also transitioned. So Einstein came in on 3.14. Stephen Hawking transitioned to the other side on March 14th in 2018. And then, of course, we always have a lunar cycle. So it's interesting because tonight is the blood moon. It's the lunar eclipse, and all of this energy is happening at the same time. And so, you know, what I call new experiences for the journey, I also refer to as soul adventures. And so I come back to that quote of Into the Wild. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. It's a great journey of freedom and inspiration and stepping outside of your comfort zone, stepping outside of your own limitations of your mind and your box, not what society tells you, what your family tells you. It really hits on all of those bases. So I highly recommend it. It's actually one of my top movies in my movie category of self-exploration and discovery and exploring and prospecting, everything that I'm all about. But you know, the message is the core of man's spirit comes from new experiences. And what I mean by that is there's always, this last year for me has been all about growth and development. And I often find that new experiences require us as individuals to learn new skill sets, to adapt to unfamiliar situations, if you will. The process of learning to foster both cognitive and emotional growth, emotional intelligence, if you will. I've got a great book right here that I refer to a lot called The Emotional Intelligence in the Workplace, How to Use Your EQ to Build Strong Relationships and Thrive in Your Career by Marc Lainhart. And so I keep that handy because I work with my clients a lot, my students in my development group a lot, and we want to foster in, because there's many times that we have to step into our uncomfortability outside of the comforts of what our ego likes. And when we step into that uncomfortability, that's where great growth and healing and transformation can really take place, if you will. And so today I challenge you that, you know, it doesn't have to be man's spirit, that's just the quote, but everybody's spirit, you know. So the core of everyone's spirit comes from new experiences. And again, if you can start to have that growth and development mindset, you're gonna become more well-rounded, and you're gonna help people around you become more well-rounded. So I find that, you know, through exploration and learning, I'm going through it right now with, I can't really talk about it, but I'm in a big legal case. And, you know, my mantra through this whole process is it's happening for me. It's not happening to me. The for me is the half glass, half full. The to me is the victim mentality, glass half empty. And I always try to approach with the glass half full. And I never lose and I never fail. And what I mean by that is, for me, failure is something that we should incorporate into our journey, because failure is first attempt in learning, right? So you should be failing a lot because you're here about learning and you're here about exploration and prospecting, right? So for me, I don't lose. My mantra is, if I don't win, I learn, right? Because why do we have to have it in a negative context, right? Why do we have to, well, I didn't win, so I'm going to go, I'm a loser and go to that negative? No, you're not a loser. You just didn't win that battle, right? We all have different battles that we go through in life. But if you didn't win, you didn't lose, you learned, right? So let's change the L word from lose to learning. And so I'm going through that right now, but I find that exploration and learning, these new soul adventures that I often refer to in my writings or my podcast or these shows, I believe it provides opportunity for discovery of ourselves, our higher selves, the world around us. Whether it's traveling to a new place, which I've done lots of traveling in my time here on the planet, trying different foods and cuisines and how foods are made, engaging in a new hobby that you haven't done before, which I am now that I'm, retired out of that part of my life and into my new life, starting new hobbies, including golf. Now that I can golf again. But I find that these experience broadens one's horizons, if you will, and enhances our creativity, but also our critical thinking, and can also develop your emotional intelligence that I just talked about. So, through this, and it's not, the school of life, it doesn't ask us ever what we want, right? And, but through this, the things that I've learned from the soul adventures, from the struggle, it does provide resilience. It does provide adaptability and flexibility. And that's, as a spiritualist, I always remind whether it's my clients or my students, that the greatest spiritual gift you can have is the ability to be flexible with what's going on around you. Be like bamboo, strong. But if you know the concepts of bamboo, which is a very spiritual reference, bamboo is very strong, but also flexible to where it really is hard to break bamboo. And so with the changing times, with the world in chaos, I always say we're always this close to chaos throughout history. It's not just modern, it goes all the way back years and years ago. But when you have that resilience and that perseverance and that adaptability, when faced with the unexpected, and I'm sure all of us have had the unexpected. I know I have many times where, life can change on a dime, right? Things can change very fast and unexpectedly. But if you are an individual who learns to navigate and be flexible in difficult situations, I find that the resilience and the adaptability and the perseverance builds your confidence. It builds and prepares you for future challenges, future changes, reinforcing, the idea that you are greater and stronger than you ever imagined, and you can overcome these obstacles. And it's not about climbing the mountain. Maybe you can't climb the mountain. Maybe it's about digging a hole and going under the mountain, carving a path to go around the mountain, hiring a helicopter to take you over the mountain. It's about finding creative ways, and it is that old adage, what doesn't kill you does make you stronger. And when you have that resilience and that perseverance and that adaptability, you'll find that you can overcome great obstacles and you can find great strengths that you didn't even know you possessed. And for me, that leads to emotional enrichment, right? That's one of those diamonds I'm talking about, the enrichment from something that it was once negative, again, happening to you, not or happening for you as an ability to transform versus happening to you, which is that victim mentality. And I'm sure people in your journey, in your family, your colleagues, that they're always the victim mentality, that life never works out the way they want it because they haven't taken control. They haven't realized the power to set intentions, to manifest and bring things into your reality, right? So when you have this emotional enrichment, that diamond within or the diamond all around us, engaging in these new activities or these soul adventures can invoke, various emotions. I've experienced them all: excitement, fear, joy, anxiety, depression. I talked about depression on one of my shows. And if you take the word depression, just like if you take the word listen and you switch the letters, you use the same amount of letters, but you switch the letters around, that's called an anagram. So if you take the word listen, rearrange the letters, that word becomes silent, right? If you take the word depression, use the same amount of letters, switch it around, it becomes I pressed on. So you're taking something that's viewed as something negative, depression, and moving it into a verb, into an action to say I pressed on. Or maybe I need to listen more. And how do I listen more? I become silent more. The more silent I become, the more I actually hear. Rumi reminds us of that. Lao Tzu reminds us of that. Gandhi reminds us of that. Buddha reminds us of that, right? So there's a lot of information and ancient wisdom in the silence if you take the free will and choice to listen, right? And that's what I love about words. And it goes all the way back years ago when I started listening and following a gentleman by the name of Dr. Wayne Dyer, written lots of books. And his comments always stuck with me about if you change the way that you look at something, like the word depression. So I no longer look at the word depression as a bad thing. I actually see it morph and change into the I pressed on, right? So if you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at will start to change. And I've seen that many times. And so that's that emotional enrichment that I'm sharing with you today. And it will help you with the, navigating and the flexibility of future challenges. Because the one thing in life that I've learned that's consistent is change within life. And, just it helps you with, the deepening understanding of yourself, to know thyself, the world around you, people's reactions, right? You don't have to respond to everything. In fact, you may find that you're actually moving more into that silence and observing versus responding to have an opinion, right? Because there is a difference in this day and age, especially with social media. Y'all that have followed my journey know that I'm not a fan of social media anymore. I think it had a good point, but with everything, there's a good point and a bad point, just like the internet, right? Lots of knowledge, but lots of misinformation. And when you have that emotional enrichment, you may, as you mature, you find that you may want to move into not responding to something, right? The difference between an argument and a debate. Argument is sharing perspectives, but trying to prove one person right or wrong based on an argument, right? Debate is not proving anybody right or wrong. It's just sharing your perspective based on some of your experiences or soul adventures, and sharing that with another person, and then having them share that back with you without having to prove somebody right or wrong, because that's all ego based, right? So that's the emotional enrichment that you can start to learn from other people. I was just in Vegas with the boys. Big shout out to my boys. Golfing and watching basketball, and Gonzaga, my men's Gonzaga team, went on and punched their ticket. The women punched their ticket. They didn't win the tournament, but kudos to both. 26 straight years of making it to the tournament. That's a dynasty, right? Making it to the big dance. But just hanging out with the guys and hearing their different perspectives, and then being in the pool with people from different countries like Canada, hearing the different perspectives, but having a debate without trying to prove that person right or wrong, or trying to prove my buddy right or wrong. Sometimes they would morph into that, and I'd be like, no, just share your perspective. I'm not having an argument. I want to have a debate and just understand the perspectives. And that's your emotional enrichment, because then you start to see the perspective from other people's journey, their experiences, what they've seen that maybe you've never experienced. And that, I think, will bring us back together. The great coming together that I've talked about, written about, podcasted about. Just like I talk about the times that we're in, I started talking about this back in 2017, 2018. You can go back and listen to my podcast, Inspired Living, or you can go back and check out my articles. I even wrote, "Does democracy have an expiration date?" I wrote that for West Side Seattle here locally. So, things are going to change whether we want them or not, or whether we're in agreement or not. It's all about your journey. Excuse me, hiccups. It's all about your journey and how you adapt to it or not adapt to it. How you, are flexible with it or not flexible with it, how you accept it or don't accept it, how you respond or don't respond. Because remember, not responding is also a response within itself. So don't forget that avenue. But you also start to have what I call this identity formation when you start to have these creative experiences that may have you step outside of your comfort zone. And these new experiences I found for me, and I'm just sharing my journey, it's led me to have experiences of self-reflection, going deeper and working with plant medicines, working with the spirit world, working with my healing, right? Healing is a big aspect of it. But prompting me as a human being to consider my own values, to consider my own beliefs, my ethics, my morals, and my goals in my journey. And I found that this identity formation that I'm talking about, I found that this exploration, at least this journey, this exploration that I'm on as Marc Lainhart, the intuitive prospector, I believe that it's essential for your personal identity, because a lot of people, including myself, early in life got caught up in other people's personalities, living what their life was, or wanted to be their life, or what they expected my life to be. And that's also a form of manipulation. And once you realize and you break free from attachments or manipulation, that's usually where rejection will take place. So don't take it personally if you're no longer corresponding to being manipulated. That could be religion, family, your relationship with your significant other, your friends. And once you stop engaging in manipulation, then be prepared for some sort of rejection where, this person isn't manipulating anymore. And sometimes that ends relationships. I've seen that firsthand in my own experience, both with friends, colleagues, and family members, that it just, I will no longer be manipulated. and I want to go out and have these experiences. And that's where you have your emotional enrichment itself, because you're starting to understand yourself better and your place and your reactions in the world, which I feel leads us to greater emotional intelligence overall. And that can be a lonely place, but it gets better. And that's that identity formation, to know thyself, right? And that's based on, I've got a card right off camera here. It says self-observation, awakening, self-understanding, and enlightenment. And it's the enlightenment that Buddha talked about several times. You want to get to enlightenment. And for those of you that don't understand the process of enlightenment, it is your experiences and your education, that whatever education, maybe you didn't go to college, and that's okay. You have life education as well, the school of life. Maybe you went to a trade school. Maybe you had no degree at all. And I know people that have had no degree, and they're some of the smartest people. And I know people that have several degrees, and they're some of the dumbest, ignorant people I've met, right? So, but it's your sum of your experiences and your education that will lead you to knowledge. And what you do with that knowledge and everything I'm talking about today, the exploration and learning, the resilience, the adaptability, the flexibility, the emotional enrichment, the identity formation of who you are to know thyself, the growth and development, that will then lead you to wisdom. And it's from that point that the wisdom will hopefully be the last hurdle to reach this state of enlightenment, peace with what is, peace with who you are. But as Buddha reminds us, and that's why I always keep it here, you got to let that shit go. But at the same time, you've got to know that once you reach enlightenment, you still got to tend the garden. Once you reach enlightenment, you still got to clean the cat box. Once you reach enlightenment, you still got to do the laundry, right? So, that is the process of the spiritual journey. And it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, y'all. But I can guarantee you, if you start to take these new experiences head on and not live in a place of fear, which is false evidence appearing real. Again, change that word that you look at. Look at that word that I just talked about, fear, false evidence appearing real. Change it. Again, when you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at start to change. And do that acronym, that same acronym of fear, for me, changes from false evidence appearing real to face everything and rise, right? But that's my choice. That's my free will. That's my perspective. Not everybody follows that. But if you do, I'm telling you, it's a much funner experience. And what happens is you start to have a connection in your relationships. Shared experiences can forge strong bonds between individuals, between strangers. Every Wednesday, I meet with my tribe online from amazing people all around the United States, Canada, the UK, and we can share our experiences, but we build unity through community, through these relationships. And, whether it's through, we don't talk about politics, but it could be through your connection of politics, which I wouldn't recommend, or religion, have a perspective of different religions from around the world is what I'd say. But it can be based on food. It can be on music you're listening to, movies, sports, community services, engaging in the new activities of what you're doing. And when you do that, I find that it fosters camaraderie. It fosters teamwork, and it strengthens social ties, right? Teamwork, they always say you can't have an I in team, but you can always have an ME, right? So, but that team aspect of what you're doing. And when you build on connections and relationships, that can help to move you to joy and fulfillment. And what I mean by that, the thrill of trying something new can spark joy and excitement in your life, in your journey, in the soul adventures if you choose. But again, your greatest responsibility is your free will and your choice. So you can either take a chance, make a choice, take a chance, see the change, or stay with status quo and then ask yourself, is that the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome? So, you have this joy and fulfillment once you have to have, this identity formation and connection and relationships to what you're doing, then the joy and fulfillment that starts to unfold for your journey, and that thrill of trying something new or being in your outside of your comfort zone. And the moments of happiness contribute to a sense of fulfillment, if you will. They contribute to reminding us as individuals that life is a journey and it's filled with opportunities for enjoyment and pain. But again, how your perspective, how you're looking at things. Are you looking at the word depression as negative? Or now are you looking at the word depression as I pressed on? Are you looking at the word as fear, false evidence appearing real? Are you changing your perspective to say, you know what, face everything and rise through that fear energy, right? So that's called the perspective shift. Like I said, in spirituality, we always say the greatest gift that we have is the ability to shift our perspective, right? That's strength and spiritual awakening, not to one certain religion, not to one certain person, but an omniist approach to all religions, speak some sort of truth within their religion context. And so you have through this flow and this journey and this soul adventure that I'm talking about today, you have that perspective shift, and the new experiences, even though challenging, and sometimes, this last year for me has been very, very, very challenging. Some of the most challenging year I've ever had. But it was also my year last year of the eight. 2024 was the year of the eight. And eight, if you know eight, which I'm a life path eight, which is the infinity symbol, you turn it sideways and it becomes journey in, journey out. So I had a pretty rough go in 2015 with the same year of the eight. This was also the year of the eight. Last year was the year of the eight, which was a lot of medical. 2015 was a lot of medical. So now I've kind of learned that, okay, during my year, so I won't have this for another, we go through the cycle of 1 through 9. So right now we're in the year of the 9, 2026. And then in numerology, we start over. So next year in 2027, that's year of the 1. So I got a few more years before I have to go through another, medical, which will put me close to in my 60s, or close to, not quite. But now I can kind of prepare for that if that's the case, right? Because in your year in numerology, you either have a really transformative year or a really tough year that causes you to flex, to causes you to adapt, if you will, because that's survivability. But the perspective shift is so important to the journey because it's the new experiences that can challenge your existing beliefs, and it can also challenge your perspectives, but it encourages you to see the world from a different viewpoint, right? And trust me, I don't claim to know everything. I know, I go with, I don't know nothing at all. I'm just sharing my experiences with you. But I found when you shift your perspective from your perspective, knowing that we sit at a round table and everybody has the same experiences but different perspective based on where they sit, then you start to engage in that perspective shift of understanding others, understanding empathy and compassion. It fosters a compassion for empathy and a change in that perspective shift, if you will, and just how you promote yourself towards others and how you receive from others. And it's what we call the more inclusive mindset when you have a perspective shift, if you will. And of course, then that leads to this point, the legacy and storytelling. I've been interviewed many times in my journey. I just had a nice interview. I have a couple of interviews coming up. And they always ask me, for some reason, that's one of the questions that's been asked a few times, what's your legacy? And for me, the legacy is leaving behind information and content, whether my YouTube channel, these shows, my articles, for people to know that during our time, we still had our struggles. We did have, the ability to have spiritual awakenings and what that entails, to find the diamond within and to find the many hidden gems all around us. But in the future, things will be more acceptable because our technology, our science, our mathematics, we are moving into quantum mechanics, quantum physics, quantum consciousness. So in the future, it's going to be more acceptable. And that's the legacy, is planting seeds for somebody else to raise that garden up. And that's what I always say my legacy is, or planting a tree, knowing that at some point that tree will offer others shade or animals for their new nest. That's the legacy, right? That's the storytelling. But what you've done is you've taken the accumulation of diverse experiences through your soul adventures, and it's enriched my life. Yeah, it was a tough year last year, but it's enriched my life. It's transformed my life. It's put me in situations of intention and manifesting I never thought possible, right? But I had to follow that. I had to trust the process. I had to have power and patience, and I know the way knows the way, right? That's where I had to change and unlearn a lot of the stuff that I've been taught growing up through the education system, through religion, through the growth of my own ego. And when you are sharing these stories like I do on Inspired Living or here on Metaphysical Meetup with Marc Live, what you're doing is you're inspiring others, you're encouraging others, you're motivating others, and you're creating a legacy not only of learning, but of adventure, of exploration, of prospecting, that soul adventure to find the diamond within and to find all the many hidden gems that are seen and unseen. Some of you know what I'm talking about. 3 eyes in life, 2 to look, 1 to see, right? So I find that quote, and I open up the show a quote from Into the Wild, and it says, quote, the core of man's spirit comes from new experiences, end quote. And so just in concluding for today's message, I find that quote underscores the intrinsic, how am I trying to say this? It underscores the value of new experiences in shaping your human spirit, your human soul. And maybe you don't believe in a soul, and that's okay too. Everybody's welcome here. It's a smorgasbord, it's a buffet. Full believers, non-believers, skepticism, atheists. I want to learn more, agnostic, right? I want proof of it. Everybody is welcome because that is the journey of life, right? And, today's message, I feel like it can highlight and embrace change, knowing that change is the one constant in life, but also the novelty that it can lead to a more fulfilling, enriched, and meaningful life through your experiences. So it's no different than my tagline: dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and discover the diamond within. And it took me many years, even though I've been saying this for 2 decades, it took me probably a decade to actually realize that, to fall into that, to believe that, to explore, to discover, to live, and discover what life is all about. So I hope that makes sense for today's message, today's journey. Again, happy Pi Day 3.14. This is, if you know the mathematics, I work in numerology, so I follow mathematics a lot. Numbers are very interesting to me on the spiritual journey. But it's Pi Day 3.14. Today is the date that Einstein was born, and then years later, Stephen Hawking actually passed on 3.14, and then today we have a blood moon. So pay attention to your emotions too, because the blood moon eclipse has a lot of energy 3 days before, 3 days after. So put out your water for moon water, put your crystals out to have your crystals cleansed, because this is a great way to do that, except for selenite. Don't do selenite. We were just talking about this in group. But, I hope that that message resonates with you today about your journey. And again, it just comes back to the realization that we're floating in the middle of space on a rock, paying bills, right? There's a bigger picture at play, and there's going to be more amazing information that starts to be revealed during our roaring 20s of transformation and ascension of consciousness, including learning that we're not alone in this universe, whether they've been here the whole time or they do come from a different dimension, a different construct of space. Quantum mechanics, quantum physics, robotics, artificial intelligence. You followed my show on I believe that knowledge is discovered at a certain point in our history, at a certain point in our timeline. Humans don't create this. The knowledge has already been created. We just are given tools and a timeline of when we can start to access and have the right materials to access, like Zoom, like internet, like Wi-Fi. That includes artificial intelligence. But when you realize that we are just here for a short time, the journey and the mindset and your learning starts to change. And I hope that you'll continue to explore and discover and live the life to find that diamond within. And I always close out my shows with: be kind, caring, compassionate, and wherever you're at in the world, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and discover that diamond within. That is my hope for you. And I always, one of the taglines on Inspired Living is: be inspired, inspire others, inspire before we expire. And that's the legacy, and that's the work that I do now. So thanks for listening, Pete. Thanks for listening to me to ramble on. Let me give some shout outs to people. Let me get over to the Facebook page. Again, my YouTube channel show will be on at noon. We're talking about the age of knowing. Again, I'm past the age of belief for my journey. I don't want to believe. I want to know, right? And knowing is half the battle. As that old G.I. Joe cartoon growing up, they'd be like, knowing is half the battle. And I believe that. Carl Sagan talked about that all the time. I don't want to believe. I want to know. And sometimes that truth may change my perspective of what I thought the truth was, what the truth is, and what the truth reveals, right? So I hope that makes sense. I do want to give a shout out to the group that I opened up with the music, because all my music is always trademark free, copyright free, and approved for my shows. Her name is Sheila Rivas, and it's called Queen. Again, the name is Sheila Rivas. So I'm going to get ready for readings. Let me get over to the Intuitive Prospector page. Again, I'm looking for my subscribers. You have a badge next to your name, or just let me know that you're one of my Patreon prospectors. I'll give you shout outs. And then we can do some readings. I've got cards, I've got my books, I've got my own intuition, whatever you want to do. You can call my line, my business line. I'll put that number in the page, and I'll also put the link if you want to come in and have a Zoom chat with me. The only thing I ask is if you come in on the phone or via Zoom, that you turn the volume down around you, just so we don't get reverberation and feedback. But we're going to just take a few minute break. I'm going to change and shift my energy so I can be in service, to help, to promote, to inspire, to encourage, whatever. If you want to check out during the break my website at marclainhart.com, or internet search Intuitive Prospector, you can see all the upcoming events, latest article, latest YouTube video, whatever you're prospecting for, I'm here to assist. So we will be right back here. We're going to play one of my songs that I love for this time is Let's Go. So we'll be back here in just a few minutes, and grab top off your coffee, top off your tea or your protein shake, and then we will be back here in just a second. Okay, welcome back. Just putting some links in our Facebook page now. So if you want to head over to the comment section, again, my team is monitoring any kind of negativity. We don't want spam messages or go to this website for this. Just don't do it because you're going to get banned out of the community, not welcome back, and reported to Facebook. So just know that there are people watching the comments. So let's keep it uplifting. Let's keep it inspiring. That's what I do with my social media pages is I try to make them platforms for positivity. We don't need to get into any, there's enough divide and hate out in the world. We don't need to bring it in here. So again, if you're a subscriber, I'm looking for your badge. If you want to share out, contribute, that's how you get your badges. I don't control the algorithms of that. But you can come in, the Zoom link is out there. If you want to come into the Zoom room and have a chat, if you want to sign up, go over my website, get on my newsletter, great way to stay informed or the events coming up. Those links are there. If you want to call my business line into my studio here, that number is out there as well in the comment section. So I think we're good. The Zoom link is out there. So let me get into your messages. Hi, Adriana. Hi, Colleen. Hi, Kara. Dr. Shea saying fire. You are so smart. I don't know if I'm smart. Thank you for that compliment. I appreciate that. I just have a lot of experiences, and I do have a lot of education. I have 3 degrees technically. So, but I don't, again, the person that claims to know it all knows nothing at all. I just share my legacy, my storytelling, and my experiences and my education. But I wouldn't classify myself as very smart. I would say I had to learn a lot to even get through college, to get through, boot camp, to get through writing, at Stanford, So, but that's the journey, right? But I appreciate that. So thank you, Dr. Shea Janice. I appreciate that. Hi, Adriana. How are you, my friend? I'm so glad I made it to hear your message today. I needed it. Good. I think we all need it. I need to hear it, right? Sometimes the story I'm telling is the story, right? The one finger pointed out is the 3 fingers pointed back at us, right? That I need to hear, these experiences as well. But I appreciate you, Adriana. Thanks for being here. Hi, Zara. Thanks for the message. You're welcome, my friend. The links are in there. Hi, Janelle. How are you? Good to see you. So reading room is open. This is your time. Again, remember first Friday, if you're a subscriber, first Friday of every month is now known as Diamonds Day. Two links, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then again at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, because I have people on different time zones and in different countries. But it's a great way to use your benefits to meet with me the first Friday of every month. Diamonds Days through the Diamonds Hub subscriber here on Facebook, or my Patreon Prospectors, which you can sign up online. I put that link in the description as well. So I'm open to receive, open to help you out in whatever capacity I can. Zoom room is open. Telephone lines are open. Comments are open. If you want a deck, tell me what deck you want. I'm still working with 14 different decks. You just tell me what deck you want, or I can pick it for you and we can shuffle and you tell me to stop, or you tell me what card you want in the deck and I'll put that out. Because there's messages, there's knowledge ready to be accessed for all of you. Again, I'm just the messenger, right? I'm the medium. So the knowledge is there. You just have to decide if you want to access that knowledge. I don't believe that we as humans create knowledge. I believe that we access knowledge based on the knowledge that's all around us. Coincidences, synchronicity, synergy, signs, symbols, music. It all is very interesting in the journey. And again, some of you have no idea what I'm talking about because you haven't experienced it. But if you start to prospect, I guarantee that you will. Can I get a card of your pick? I've been feeling stuck lately in most areas of life. Yeah, let's do an affirmation for you this morning, Adriana. So you can see next to Adriana's, she's got a little badge, a little heart next to her name. So that's what we're looking for. And she's a top fan. So if you want to get into the reading room, I'm also looking. You get in the queue early if you have a badge or you're one of my subscribers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just shuffle the deck for you. And it's a fun deck. You can't go wrong with a unicorn and a jackrabbit in front of a rainbow, right? So just take a nice deep breath, Adriana. And I'm sorry that you're feeling sick, but that happens to a lot of us, right? So it's kind of the message I was talking today. In order to get unstuck, sometimes we have to do stuff that I don't want to work out. Well, then you probably should be in the workout room. I don't want to meditate. Well, then you probably should be meditating. But the ways to get unstuck is to actually go out and do new things, soul adventures, experiences like what I was talking today. So your card for this morning, take a nice deep breath with me. We'll work together in the quantum digital aspects. Stop. So this is the card I picked for you to help you out with your journey. And again, reading room's open, Zoom room's open, phone lines are open, or you can comment in the comment section. And here's your card, Wander. Oh, interesting. So it's kind of exactly what I was just talking about Adriana, to wander. Not all who wander are lost, right? But you're feeling stuck. And so I shuffled the deck. You saw me, took a breath, heard the word stop. This is your message. It's a wonderful thing to be in a state of wonder. And when I'm in a good audience, when I'm a good audience to my life becomes better and better theater. When something delightful happens, I can shout, encore, and be tickled when it happens again. When something maddening happens, I can laugh it off. Either way, I'm glad I got a ticket to the show. So that is your message. You have a ticket to the show, but it comes back to the mantra that I was talking about. Is this happening to you as a victim, or is it happening for you for growth and transformation and strength? And so you have a ticket to the show. It's all about what you want to do with that ticket. You don't even have to go to the show if you don't want to, but you have a ticket, which is the ticket of life, and how you respond or don't respond. And so I always tell people, when you're in a sticky situation or a negative situation, practice the pause, take 10 deep breaths, because what that do, it's not only going to calm your mind, because when you just practice, you don't even have to take my word for it. Just take 10 deep breaths and see where your mind is before you begin, and see where your mind is after you're done with those 10 deep breaths. But not only does the mind shift and become calmer and the monkeys stop running around in your mind, your nervous system relaxes, your adrenals relax, your auric field starts to maybe expand or change colors. So you're more than just a physical flesh suit paying taxes and to work a 9-to-5 job in the chaos of our world. So remember that you're a physical being, you're an emotional being, you're a mental being, you're a material being living in the material world, and you're a spiritual being. The PEMS, PEMMS, what I teach on. So remember that. And again, you have a ticket to the show, Adriana. What do you want to do with the ticket? Right? So good card for you. All right. Hi, Kara. Thanks for being a subscriber. I would like a card, please. You pick the deck. I'll pick 14. All right. So that is the 14th deck today is the Flower Sentience deck. Flower sentience is using the visual of flowers, and sentience is the feeling of what the message can be. And you would like me to, I would like a card. You pick the deck, and I'll pick. Oh, well, I picked 14, but I can pick card 14 for you too. So I'm picking the deck, which is 14. I just saw that. So let me count out 14 cards for you real quick. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, the thistle. Ooh, interesting. So we're going to talk about that again. If you get in the queue, if you want to, if you want your, if you want a question, or you come in the Zoom room, I'll put you in the wait room until I can bring you in live, or you can call my business line here in the studio. And then Ziara, you're on deck with a color card. So I'll get that deck ready. Here's the color deck. My color deck person, she loves colors. And colors always play a very transformative, healing awareness role in your journey as well, the power of colors. So, Cara, this is your card for today, my friend. And it says this on the 14th. It's a number 5 and a number 3. It's the thistle. So don't take it as a negative yet. The 5 and 3 together is 8 in numerology. The 5 represents freedom, love, adventure. The 3 represents compassionate, creative, compassionate person. So it's taking your freedom and your adventure and your creative energies, combining them into the 8, which is all about manifesting. But that's the business-minded leader, the manifesting, the power of 8, right? So it's a manifesting message. But it says, this is what it says, and I'll just read it to you. It says the thistle is the oldest recorded national flower. I did not know that. And probably one of the most well-known and easily recognized for its connection with Scotland. It is a native-born plant, which is as bold as it is beautiful, a little weed that has come a long way. The delicately beautiful flower heads show that the warrior can also be gentle protector of those in need. Oh, interesting. The thistle can grow as high as 8 feet tall and symbolizes resilience and protection. It brings the essence of stubbornness and the tenacious, defiant ability to flourish against all odds. It is a flower which symbolizes the overcoming of pain and pride for a positive future. That is the thistle, my friend. That's a great message, actually. And recorded as one of the oldest national flowers from Scotland. Did not know that. And I've been to Scotland. So, but again, it's a flower which symbolizes, and this can go for everybody else. This doesn't have to just be for Cara. This can be a flower which symbolizes the overcoming of pain and pride for a positive future. And who doesn't want a positive future? I know I do, right? So, all right. Hi, Noreen. Hi, Colleen. Ziara, do you want to pick the card you want me to shuffle, or do you want me to pick the card? So if you're picking the card, just let me know, type in stop like we normally do, or I can pick a number of the card, or I can just pick it at random. It's up to you. But I like to work with you, in the quantum digital metaverse. So again, reading room is open for this Friday. Happy Pi Day. Friday on Pi Day. How's that work? How's that flow? Again, my show will be airing over on my YouTube channel at noon Pacific Standard Time, The Age of Knowing. That's the topic of the show over on my YouTube channel if you want to subscribe over there. Card number 5. You got it. Okay. So give a nice good shuffle. Take a deep breath. Set your intentions. Intentions lead to ascensions, and ascensions leads to manifestations, right? So there's a process here. You're welcome, Cara. Hope that makes sense. That thistle card is really cool. All right, we're shuffled. Energy's in. Zara wants the 5th card. 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's your card. It is the color of jade. So this is a nature connection. The 32, it's all about taking action. And nature can be a great catalyst and a great healer and a great motivator and a great engineer to get out in nature, even if it's out in your front yard, walking in your bare feet, doing some foresting. The 3 and 2 energy adds up to 5. So in numerology, the 3 is, again, compassionate energy. The 2 is being at peace with what's going on. And then together they represent the number 5, which is freedom, love, and adventure. So this is a really positive card for you this morning, but make sure that you're incorporating that nature. If you can't get out into nature, I always remind people, bring nature into you. I'm surrounded by lots of cool plants because it's the energy of the plants and that connection, that symbiotic connection that, they exchange our carbon dioxide for the air that we breathe, right? The trees, the oceans, the plants. Without them, there's no us, right? So there is that symbiotic relationship. And so this is just a reminder for you, Zara, to get out and to take action, because that's going to help with your energy, your nervous system, your adrenals, your mindset. It's all good stuff for you. So and I would incorporate a crystal into that too. I'd get a little um I've got it right here, and I'm drawing a blank on the name. Geez, it's the sunstone. So if somebody can tell me, oh my gosh, I'm totally drawing a blank on it. But I keep this right here because it's a very high positive energy stone, and I can't think of what it is called. So if somebody can help me out, that would be great. It's the sunstone. It starts with an S, but I'm drawing a blank. So I thought I'd share this with you. This is a good friend of mine created this for me out of a dollar bill in Vegas. Onigami. He took a dollar bill and he created a shirt and tie. Isn't that cool? Be creative, be a storyteller, do stuff that makes you laugh, do things that make you happy. I put it right here in my tree of life, crystal tree of life, so I can remind myself that I don't have to work in the corporate world anymore. I don't have to wear the shirt and tie and work for the man. Thank you, Zara. I appreciate that. Have an awesome Friday. Thanks for the card. You're welcome. Thank you for the stars. And if you guys want to send stars, it just helps buy my coffee every Friday. I don't make a lot of money, but it is an option if you want to be a star sender. So thank you for the stars. I appreciate you. Time to go for a hike. Yeah, it's always time to go for a hike. I'm waiting to get out and hiking once I'm cleared with my knees, so I'm pretty close. Katie, hi. Citrine, Adriana, you're a dear. Yeah, citrine. I was saying S, it's a C. It's citrine. Thank you. Thank you. I need more coffee. So get them citrine is what I was trying to say. I don't know why I thought F. Probably thinking selenite, but citrine, right? I know fresh. Yeah, remember this t-shirt? Old school right here. Fresh. So we're in some old school. Plus, it's an energy which is all about creativity. Orange is the color of creativity. So this is my new golf hat that I got in Vegas. So all right. So thank you for that, Adriana. Katie says, "Hey, Marc and team, happy Friday. How about a birthday card? You pick." Hey, well, happy birthday. Let me just give you some. Let's see if I can do this here. I think I can do this. So let's try this. See if this works. Oh, it's a reaction up. I gave you a birthday cake, but it went up. Let's see if it posts up in the upper corner of the Zoom. I don't know if you see it. But the video is a little bit delayed. Hi, Nancy. How are you? Good to see you, my friend. Happy Friday. Let me try a different effect. How about some diamonds? Maybe that'll help you. So I was trying to give you birthday cakes, but it just goes up in the upper corner for some reason. I wonder if that's based on what part send with effect. Oh, maybe it's reaction versus send with effect. Okay, there's a difference. Cake, let's try this. Okay, cake. There we go. There's some cake for you. So have a happy birthday. Here's a cake. The card for you, I'm actually, since I was just talking about crystals for you, go get a crystal for your birthday. Crystals are very great amplifiers and cleaners. Full moon tonight, so put your crystals out. I always put my crystals on my ledge. I've got a lot of crystals. I'll put them up on the ledge because the way the moon goes by my studio cleanses the crystals, energizes and re-energizes the crystals, and then put some water out. I put a jug of water out, wrap it in saran wrap just to keep the bugs out, and then I set on my hot tub, and the blood moon will go over tonight with that full moon energy, and then I actually drink little sips of that water, that moon water, to help detoxify, help clarify, raise my alchemy, if you will, that kind of thing. So did those cakes come? Or did the cakes come through? I just realized there's a difference between send with effect and reactions. So, but happy birthday. And the crystal card for you today, this is for Katie. Thanks for the follow. Thanks for the journey. Follow me and joining me on this journey. Here's your card for this morning. It's actually a beautiful color. This is the celestite. So this is celestite. Turn into your serenity. This is what this crystal represents. What is it? It's a blue-gray celestite. Is a delicate sulfite mineral with airy, buoyant blue cotton candy vibes. It gets the name from the Latin word from heaven. And if you close your eyes and ask nicely, maybe it will take you there. Who needs it? Anyone brazenly ignoring the consistent inner voice that actually has some good ideas for how you might better handle this whole life thing. Where to put it? As a calming adornment wherever you meditate or pray, and when to use it when it's time to stop and really listen. With celestite as a guide, you might be surprised on what you hear. So go get that crystal. And I always tell people when you go to doing crystals, don't order them online. You want to feel them. Like I have some really powerful crystals, right? This is moldavite, right? But I go and I feel the stones, and sometimes the stone picks you. You don't pick the stone. So just remember that. It's kind of like the clothes. Do you pick the clothes, or did the clothes pick you based on your or feel based on how you're feeling? There is, do want to let you know, there is a podcast coming up on the 26th of this month. We're going to have a guest. We did a manifesting class together. So if you want to really get in depth on how to set intentions to manifest things into your reality, that'll be on the 26th of this month for Inspired Living, which is now, thank you to the fans and the voters, we are now rated as a best spiritual and best inspirational podcast to follow. And we're played wherever you listen to your podcast from, including YouTube, Alexa. You can just say Alexa or your Echo Pod, open up Inspired Living Podcast. That'll play last week's episode, and Audible. So those are some of the major channels that we're streaming through. So yeah, happy birthday, Katie. Hi, Joan. Anybody else have any comments or concerns or anything I can help you prospect for? Again, head over to my YouTube channel. You can subscribe here at marclainhart.com, or I can put it in the chat board if you're interested, or my Patreon. I'll put my Patreon and Diamonds Hub links in there as well, if you want to continue to journey with me and prospect for all the many cool things that are out in life, even though it seems like the world has lost its way, which again, I'm not surprised. I talked about this years ago. So I'm not really surprised at what unfolds now. Including, if you follow my work, I've talked about revolution, civil war, World War III without nuclear weapons, geopolitics, land grabs, all of that. So I put the subscriber channel in. If you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, there'll be a show on at noon today. So I think that populated. It might take a second. Looks like the page is a little slow. So if I'm not seeing your comments, just be patient real quick. If I did miss your comment, if you could put it in again and just put the word bump with an asterisk and then your question again, then I know that I didn't catch everybody's message, because I don't always catch them real time. So I'll put the two links if you want to become a subscriber. Again, I'm going to, as we move into the middle of this year, I'm going to be looking to change some of my platforms and where I'm doing my content, including ramping up more on TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube channel, and coming up with some new classes now that I have the bandwidth to experience the etheric. So let me get that page where we got. All right, so that's the Diamonds Hub link there if you want to get on the Diamonds Hub. Again, $4.99. And then if you want to become a Patreon prospector, that's a page outside of social media. And it's my Patreon page, and I've got a bunch of great prospectors with me. And we do a lot of different things within Patreon. And there's membership scale, so you pick what you want to do with that. So let me get over to that real quick. And then if you have any other comments, Katie says, way cool. I have my windowsill filled with crystals, but don't have this one. 26 class sounds great. Thanks, Mark. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, so let's get to my page on Patreon. So yeah, I've got about 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Got about 19 on the Patreon page if you want to head over there. Again, you can get all the links again at marclainhart.com, which is right here. All right, so there's my Patreon page. Put a new class up at Learn It Live, and I'm also working on a new meditation currently for Insight Timer. So if you follow any of those platforms, Learn It Live or Insight Timer. Again, all the links are right here at marclainhart.com. All right, any other questions? It's 11 o'clock, so I've been on for about an hour. So any other questions? Last call. You can come in the Zoom room. Link is up above. Call the business line. Link is up above. Put something in the comment section, and we can respond through the comment section if you want. Card reading, book reading, intuitive question, intuitive answer, that kind of thing. All right, so there's a Patreon. So all the links are out there. And again, you can get everything at marclainhart.com. The website's now been updated. Just finished some of the upgrades that I was working on, including my new appointee scheduling system, my PayPal, my Venmo, a lot of digital links that had to be reworked. And so that should be all corrected now. Book proposal. What do you mean by that, Nancy? What do you mean book proposal? Like a book that I would propose for people to read? Or I got all sorts of good books. I just did a great book on, are you planning any in-person class? That, I am. I want to have events where I can travel to locations and do events, and also an in-person event. COVID kind of threw a kibosh and all that, but yes, to answer your question, I am going to be planning some in-person experiences, soul adventures, workshops focused on psychic and mediumship and mindfulness and meditation. I would love to do something, in an area that has, something like a Sedona, something like a Mount Shasta, start to format that. I do have a summit coming up in April. I have two events coming up in April. Summit on the 18th, I'll be on a guest on a show. And then on the 26th and 27th, that is an in-person event called the Conscious Wellness Expo. I'll be at my same booth that I always am, both in the spring and the fall. It's the one in-person event I do, but I don't think you're local. Um, but Yeah, that's the one in-person event that I do have coming up. And I usually am pretty busy Saturday and Sunday, and I usually do a lecture and a demonstration over the weekend, both in mediumship and then talking about what I do. So um, Jane says, sorry, I forgot about the time change. No worry. Hi, Donna. Good to see you, Jane. Thanks for being here. Sending one into Hay House. Sorry, Nancy, I'm not following. So you a book proposal, you're sending one to Hay House. Good luck with that. Holding space for you. Sorry, whenever I type, your video stops. Yeah, welcome to the. Hi, Shelley. So Nancy, are you saying your book or a book that I would promote? Because one of the books that I would promote, we just actually had her on the show as a guest, and the book is called. Bear with me. I got to go to my digital books section because I get a lot of books. I get a lot of PR pitches and I get a lot of books for people that want to be on the show. Her name is, she was on the show this last week, and we did a show on mystic richness, and her name is Cheryl Page. So if you want to check that out, it's a mind expanding book for a true explorer in consciousness. And so it's divine wisdom across the veil, and you get to hear Cheryl's own take on that, if you will. So Mystic Richness by Cheryl Page is what I'd recommend for the latest book that I just went through. So does that make sense? Hi, Margot. Hi, Eileen. Thanks for being here. Any other comments or questions? Or sorry, Nancy, I hope I answer your question. And good luck with Hay House. Good luck. Holding special successful intentions for you. I'm holding that space for you. Okay, so I'm not seeing any other questions come in. Last call, reading rooms open in the Zoom. You can come in right into the Zoom room, phone or video. You can call my business line, phone's right off camera here. You can comment in the comment section. Again, this is Friday. This is your time to interact and prospect with me to explore all the many mysteries of life. And there are many mysteries of life. So while we're waiting for questions to come in, I will get over to my sound collection, see what song we want to close with. Get out of the video feed and refresh it. Sometimes that helps too. All right, refresh. Okay, so let's close with, how about A Better Place by Peter McConnell? That's always a good song because we all want a better place here, better place here, better place all around us. And again, keep setting intentions of positivity and working to make the world a better place. If you want to see a change in the world, the change starts with yourself. And when you change, that vibration, that energy, that inspiration then flows out from that. So that's what I'd say to that. So last call. And head over to my YouTube channel and you'll catch my show at noon if you're interested in about the age of knowing. All right. So I don't see any more comments coming in. Nobody in the Zoom room, nobody calling. So I will take that as my cue to end the show. Again, I hope you enjoyed today's message, which was all about a quote from a movie I love called Into the Wild. And the quote is, "The core of man's spirit comes from new experiences," and all the things that I laid out: growth and development, exploration and learning, resilience and adaptability and perseverance, emotional enrichment, identity formation, connection and relationships, joy and fulfillment. And of course, it really is the significance of embracing new experiences as a vital source of your spirituality, the rise in your consciousness to know thyself, and your personal enrichment. So I hope that helps. great seeing some of you today. Thanks to my team for always keeping the comments clean and uplifting and keeping this community through unity, or unity through community, however you want to approach that. And I just appreciate all of you. So have a great rest of your Pi Day 3.14. Enjoy that new blood moon, new moon that's going to be taking place today, wherever you're at in the world. And we'll see you next Friday for another episode of Metaphysical Meetup with Marc Live. No podcast this week. We'll be back on the 26th talking all about manifesting. So until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate. Most importantly, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. And I know and I hope that you'll discover the diamond within, and of course, all the many diamonds that are around us, both seen and unseen. So have a great rest of your day. Namaste. Namago. Take care. Bye.
When we're all in a better place, when we're all in a better place, if the wind blows free from the treetops to the ocean, why can't we be in a better place? In me too. There are shards in the sun, and it rains on everyone, and everything's undone and broken, until we're all in a better place. Yeah, we're all in a better place. When the water flows straight down to the ocean, why are the lines so hard to trace?
One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the intuitive prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.